Hello, welcome back to Confidence Through Cabaret. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are on Confidence with Coffee.
You can't remember either.
I never remember the names of things. So cheers.
Cheers. Gosh.
What are you drinking? Yes, to your possible beauty, Ryan.
To my possible beauty. I am drinking, what am I drinking today? Oh, I'm drinking Taylor's Decaf. What about you?
I am just drinking Millicano Instant.
Oh, very nice.
Nothing
very
posh, nothing. Actually, it's decent as an instant coffee. But we are not talking about just coffee on this podcast. On this video, we are talking about the amazing Genesis Amaris Kemp and the interview that we just did, all about inclusion and diversity, all about being unapologetically ourselves, all about being all that we can be, and it was so inspiring.
It really was. I mean, if you're unfamiliar with Genesis' work, please do listen to the podcast. Genesis has actually released their own book called Chocolate Drop in Corporate America, From the Pit to the Palace, which is available on Amazon. It's a fantastic book that kind of details their journey through corporate America, working in the oil and gas industry. And learning how to become their own fierce and strong advocate. A really fascinating interview, and there were a lot of really amazing takeaways that we wanted to kind of talk to you about today.
Yes.
There's a little excerpt that we could actually, should we play the excerpt now?
We should play the excerpt now.
Let's play the excerpt now.
Definitely marketing the book, because since I'm a first-time author, a lot of people don't know who Genesis is. So just going on different podcasts, sharing my stories, talking about the trials and tribulations, as well as helping people along the way, and just really being unapologetically me and having the confidence to say, not only did I write this book, but I'm willing to get in front of the camera and talk about it so you can meet me for who I am. So behind the book, there is a live person that is not afraid to go on and share her struggles, share some of the pain, but also share how the pain has brought her to where she is now.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. Wasn't Genesis' words just really resonant?
Yeah.
The idea of
I'm still working on the unapologetically me. It's like,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a slow process. It can be a very slow process to kind of embrace all the things that we are. I mean, is that something? How have you found that as a process? I mean, is something ongoing for you?
I mean, I think we're never who we are because we're constantly evolving, and
Right.
Actually you really do go check out the podcast, because we obviously can't play the whole clip in here, or it would just be the podcast here. So, she does talk about the fact that it's a journey and it's a marathon. And, I don't think we ever are. I mean, we can be who we are in the moment, but to say we've arrived and that's it, then that's kind of suggesting that we're just like static, right?
Right.
And that's it. There's a destination, we get there, and that's it. And I know, I mean, in my life, I thought I was there, and it never occurred to me I wasn't there. And then I find out I'm not, because everything got leveled. And then it's like, oh, okay. So here we are on the road again.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I'm not the singer in the group. So, but it is so much. I just like to throw around. But it is so much about that that it is the journey, and we are changeable, and we're constantly embarking on new journeys. And even Genesis is saying this, when we asked her about, what's next for you, and where do you see yourself, and what's your purpose, and what's next, where's your next chapter in that. And she's saying, well, I'd like to be on stage, and I'd like to be a bestseller, and I'd like to do, it's like, yeah, there are so many things that we are and that we can be doing. And actually, I love that in the podcast, Genesis so beautifully shares with us an exercise from her book, which is about the Who Am I exercise. And I really I loved that, because I think you could do that exercise over and over at different stages in your life. How can I make a difference?
Mm.
And asking yourself, who am I, and how do I make a difference to my family, and how do I make a difference to my community? And if you have all those answers, then you don't really know who you are.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
You might have
And I think that
today.
yeah. And I think it was very interesting to hear the idea of like we always say, as anyone who's watched this excerpt or listened to our podcast or any of our videos has heard, we always like to say, start where you're strong.
Yeah.
And for Genesis, that all kind of comes back to knowing your worth, and getting clear on exactly who you are at that time, what you want, and what your values are. It's all about that. It's all about getting clear on that place of strength, so that you can then work forward and move forward and make more of an impact. And one of the things that is kind of highlighted, I think, by this podcast is the fact that Genesis talks about the fact that, like, not only are you moving yourself forward, but you embracing your power allows you to move the needle for others in the future. And that has a greater impact. It's like when people sort of say, the pay it forward thing, every time you receive something good, try and pay that forward. Whenever you make that headway, whenever you bust through a barrier of whether that's self-limiting belief, or whether or not that's the constraints that are put against you, whenever you break free from those and push forward and make traction, you make traction not only for yourself, but for the many people behind you as well, who are willing you on to success.
Yeah, and it's the same thing when we heal our past wounds. It paves that opening and that healing for us as we move forward. And I love how Genesis expresses that we shouldn't be fitting into someone else's version of our worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's easier said than done. And I love how she shares in her podcast how she goes about advocating for herself, because I found, certainly in business in particular, where people would say, I don't know, I can't do that, I'm stuck by this, these are the limitations, and Genesis has just proved that all wrong by saying, actually, I did my work, and I was able to make those changes, and I was able to make a difference, and I was able to find my voice.
Yeah, of course.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So building a legacy and having an impact. And I've never really thought about building a legacy, but I mean, that's ultimately, it matters that we're here. That's the whole point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever really taken the time to reflect on, well, I have in terms of women and liberation of women, but not in depth about, who paved the way for me to be here.
Right.
And I think we have, a lot of reminders in the UK about that, because we have a lot of tradition and we have a lot of symbolism around the soldiers or the miners or the, even the Romans and, the previous empires that paved the way for what we now have. I live next to a Roman city, so I guess there's a lot of evidence that things have paved, or others have paved the way for us. But Genesis is so clear on what that means for her, and I know you have thoughts on people who paved the way for you as well, to have your voice. And that's
I think that's the interesting thing as well, of like, there's the UK is a country that has so much of its kind of, we talk about our Roman structures, and we talk about, all these different things, where this was affected by, new builds and old builds from the war and things like that. But I think we also don't take into account and make visible the histories of those who aren't part of the dominant culture of the time. We don't make those histories something that's visible. And with inclusion and diversity, we're also talking about visibility, and we're also talking about making ourselves visible, so that other people have something to follow. They have that touchstone, they have that guide. I think that's a really important factor in this work, is to make visibility, make yourself more visible and put a prime on that visibility.
Yeah, so what I love about what Genesis is talking about is being in, you know, in a space where she felt like there were limitations, and limitations being placed on her female manager as well, and you know, and she did something about it. You know, she didn't just, oh, okay, well, I guess I can leave or stay and put up with it. She actually went out and she talked so much, you know, about advocacy and doing the work. And I think it's really easy to end up being lazy and not doing the things that Genesis did. But there's some great advice in there.
Oh, absolutely. And there's some really practical stuff. As you say, there's some really practical information, especially within Genesis's book, which again, Chocolate Drop in Corporate America, which is actually going to be, I believe she was saying, was going to be released as an expanded edition, with more information, which we actually cover in the podcast. So make sure you go and check that out.
Yes, for sure. You can get that anywhere where you get your podcasts. Confidence Through Cabaret, all the socials of Confidence Through Cabaret as well, except for with Twitter, which is at YBYWYS, and on Clubhouse it's Heather it's at Heather YBYWYS. That's so brand new for me, Clubhouse. At Heather YBYWYS. So I think it's time to talk about what that means. YBYWYS.
I don't know what that means. Could you tell me?
Yes, I can. But first, let's use that. I am Heather. Please like and subscribe this channel. We're here Monday to Friday. We're talking about personal life, work life, and stage life. And we have a wonderful website that has masterclasses on it from amazing friends of our community, all complete with workbooks. The podcast will be up on the landing page as well very soon. And we just cannot wait to share with you all the content, not just from ourselves, but from people who have a message to share and have methods for you to build your confidence and have lots of journeys that you would want to follow. So I'm Heather.
And my name's Ryan.
Thank you for joining me, Ryan. And we are
Thank you for having me, Heather.
Confidence Through Cabaret, reminding you that it is your body,
your world,
your stage.
Your stage. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.